Welcome to Bruce Show. This is Unscrew the News. I'm excited to be here and have you here with me. We are going to get into the very important. This is so timely, and I'm glad that my guest reached out to me so that we can talk about this subject. Because as far as I'm concerned, and probably a lot of other people in this field, the turning our country, turning our province, turning our world around begins in the grassroots. And that for us begins with this municipal election coming up on October 20th here in Calgary. Also, a number of municipal elections throughout Alberta. But to me, this is a very important subject. And I am grateful to have my next guest on. Thank you very much for joining me. I am always so blessed to have you joining me and participating in this. Make sure to get this information out there. Share it to your socials, to your friends and family, because we do need to have this sort of awakened mindset when it comes to making the right decision. And I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but I am going to tell you that you need to be paying attention to who's there, because the last 4 years are messed up. Last 4 years, we are on this slippery, crazy slide of a slope into a hellish hellscape of Calgary. And I want to see my great city back. All right. Before I get started, I do want to say that I am coming to you from the heart of the battle ready nation of Alberta. We bring you the truth and optimism. Our goal is to break free from the media globalist mind control. This is September 10th, 2025. And our theme, or our I guess the title for this episode is Calgary 2025 election with Kirk Lubimov. Thank you very much for joining me, Kirk. It is such a pleasure to have you. We've talked a number of times, and it's been too long, so I'm glad that you're back after this. I believe we have had a great summer, and we have got to dig in our heels and get to work. So I'm glad that you called me, and we can talk about this upcoming election.
Great chatting with you. I was thinking actually the other day, man, you have like the best name for a podcast. Unscrew the News. That is so good.
Thanks, man. It just popped in my head, when I was considering doing it. And I don't know if I told you this story. I've mentioned it a number of times on the podcast, but after the National Citizens Inquiry, and I watched what happened there, is when I came up with the idea. I was like, okay, I've got to do this, and I've got to document what's going on. And of course, you and I and so many other people, we talk about how the lying media is really in control of our people. And that's kind of where the name came from.
Yeah, it's really good. It's and I'll give you an example just from today before we jump into the topic. So Canada has announced job growth of 60,000 new jobs in September. But when you dig into the raw numbers, it's actually a 58,400 job loss. And most of the jobs that were created, actually all of them, was in the public sector, and the private sector lost almost 300,000 jobs in the last month. So Unscrew the News is a perfect name for it, because there's a lot of raw, important details beyond the headlines that most people don't get. So most people think, Canada's creating jobs, that's good. But the reality is we're not.
You know what? That's a great subject, and something that's close to my heart as well, is that, obviously, we just mentioned it, but the media really controls people and their thoughts and how they react in the world. And we continue to see how brainwashed people are, that they believe this stuff. I don't know if you heard this story, but I think it's third hand. It's from somebody else, but they had somebody visiting from China. This is a number of years ago. And they were remarking at how Canadians still believe the news that's being, projected into their homes on a daily basis. And the person from China had said, yeah, it comes to our homes and it's, it's around us, but none of us believe it. And unfortunately, most Canadians are still at the trough, just slurping it up like it's today's best deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So tell us about those numbers. I mean, this is I think the bedrock of what is broken in Canada is that the small to medium and to large businesses are escaping Canada while we keep propping up and building up our UBI-esque governments so that they're dependent on us. Is that what you're seeing too?
Well, we have a huge issue with red tape productivity and not attract investment in Canada. So if you look at how many businesses, the net gain of new businesses in Canada this year have been only 183. That's it, 183 businesses.
Wow.
In the first 6 months. The data, the good data is for only 6 months of the year so far, which is nothing. If you consider how many businesses are operating, especially as a front for temporary foreign worker scams, we essentially have a negative growth in new employment growth, right, in private sector jobs, which is where the businesses are getting created for. So we have a huge issue, and we're still talking about, interprovincial trade, trying to create new partners and all this. We have much bigger problem than that, and it's the fact that entrepreneurs and capital is not choosing Canada for their base. And printing $100 billion in deficits is not going to solve it. We have structural issues, we have cultural issues, we have a mindset issues. So until this last job report went to governments, and I mean municipal, provincial, federal, when they hire 200,000 people, while we lose 300,000 people in the private sector, that is insane. We should be returning as many of those inefficient public sector workers back to the private sector so we can start demanding innovation. So we're starting to see demand in job creation, because that is part of the thing. There's too many Canadians who are insulated from the reality of Canada because the government prints money and pays them.
Right, of course. Without getting too far down this rabbit hole, because I want to get to the Calgary election, because as I mentioned in the beginning, it's so critical that we work on our base, right? We can talk about these big things like the federal election, but really we have the opportunity here, you and I and all our neighbors, to make a difference in the city, and then that flourishes and then and spreads out to our province. What are your thoughts? Because I have a huge loyalist for Canada for many years, but up until recently, and it was Mark Carney really that sort of flipped the switch for me. But I had to pull back my front lines and say, you know what I can do? I can protect the area that I live in, and I think Alberta has a chance. Do you prescribe to that? I don't necessarily need you to tell us that you're an independent guy or you're a Canada guy, but do you think that as Albertans, if we struck out as a nation, do you think that they have a better chance?
Well, I am an Alberta guy now, especially more than ever, and it's not just economically. We have to protect our economic interests. We have to protect our borders. We can't let this out of control mass immigration happen. So that's one of the most important things, probably more important than economic, because the that false demand input has such high cost to our services. It's unsustainable.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of it, and I'm going to write an article about it, is in Western Canada, it all comes down to democracy, right? So first of all, we don't have a constitution in Canada like the US does, which is probably the most powerful piece of document anywhere in the free world. We have a chance to get that if we go to independence way.
Yeah.
But also the votes in Canada just don't count the same, right? The MPs represent more people in the West than they do in the East.
Right.
So there are, by the time you get to the West, the elections already decided. There are more judges for the rest of the country than the West. There are more senators for the East than the West per population.
Mm-hmm.
There are so things are just don't make sense. So our democracy is not equal based on representation, based on vote.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it came from the Constitution. Some of the provinces out east is constitutionally when they joined they had to get X amount of judges, senators, all that. We don't have that in the West. For the same manner, because we came in later as provinces. So we were much smaller, much bigger as a province back then. So the current voting system hasn't changed in years and years, in decades, in centuries, in some part, in a century. So our votes count less. The democracy is not equal across Canada. The representation is not equal across Canada. Justin Trudeau appointed 100 of the 105 senators. So everything is completely stacked against us. It's not a democratic country.
No, it is definitely not, and that's why I had to pull back my understanding of what we can maybe affect. And to me, it's setting up borders for Alberta. And if there's another province or partial province that wants to join us, I'm okay with that. But I really believe for our children and the next generations that we have to strike out and protect our own here in Alberta. Really, this is I think so groundbreaking, because this is a sinking ship, and a sinking ship quickly. Hey, Kirk, I have a question for you. Hopefully you can answer this. How's that budget coming along for the country of Canada?
What budget?
Speaking of lost businesses and lost jobs and spending too much money, not a budget in sight, right? Yeah, and nobody's even asking for one.
Well, they're planning to only start releasing one budget a year, which will be the fall budget. And they try to change how they're accounting between spending and investing, which is essentially still spending, and under what and how the assets of the country are categorized. So, for example, roads, infrastructure. The only way you start counting your furniture under your net worth is because you're about to pay more than you need.
Yeah.
Right? So we're getting to this a very alarming point. And let's remember, I posted on this, but 10 years ago, our debt servicing cost was $20 billion. Okay. In 5 years, right now it's $52 billion. So it's already over doubled. In 5 years, it's going to be $82 billion.
Wow.
So in 15 years, we have quadrupled how much our debt is costing taxpayers.
Right.
So almost a third of everything that Canada earns from taxes from Canadians is going just to cover the cost of our debt, which is completely unsustainable. And that pays for zero new services. Zero. The Canadians don't see a single benefit from it. It all goes to holders. So it's completely out of control. And that's before we planning to add hundreds of billions of dollars more in deficits.
That's just insane, but that's the country of Canada. I almost I tried to do this consciously. Is that I've sort of backed away from calling myself a Canadian, unfortunately, but that's where we are, and we have to look at it with clear eyes so that we can see it, and that's the only way to deal with the problem. Is you have to acknowledge that it's a problem and then deal with it. All right, let's get into the Calgary 2025 election coming up on October 20th. The advance polls for anybody listening is open until tomorrow. That's October 11th. So get out and vote if you can and if you're able to, and make sure you know what to do. All right. I want to bring this up. Kirk, where do you want to start? Sorry, I'm being so bully here and saying I want to start here, but where do you want to start?
Well, I think we should really start with, this is one of the most important elections in Canada, and for two reasons, and some of the stuff you already mentioned and alluded to. First, from a Calgary point of view, the current makeup of the council, which is 14 wards and one mayoral vote, so there's 15 votes. The current council is stacked towards the, I would say, the left, which is, and they can pass essentially anything that they want in Calgary, which is what they've been doing. And they've been passing policies that completely ignore the need and the want of the citizens. So this is, we're seeing an ideological drive that is really destroying Calgary. The other aspect of it is there's a lot of policies coming from the federal government that are intervening in local politics. We're seeing Calgary spending hundreds of millions of dollars on electric buses. Is that really what we need to be raising our taxes, our property taxes double digits for, while our roads are crumbling, our pipes are bursting? I don't think that should be a priority. We have a climate emergency that's going to cost us $87 billion with a net loss to Calgary's taxpayers. Again, it's based on a federal policy.
Yeah.
And we have also blanket upzoning that is also getting pushed on us from the federal government, which is dangling some carrots in front of municipalities and saying, if you do this and ignore what the citizen wants, we'll give you some money. Which again, not only sidesteps provincial jurisdiction, but it directly influences municipalities towards federal ideologies, which is extremely inappropriate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, we saw, it came out, it was pretty obvious without actually having much evidence, but it was pretty obvious if you listened into any of the, what was it called? I guess it was I called it a circus. I mean, it was a 10-day or a 12-day circus of them having people parade in and take time off. I cannot get over how ridiculously out of control this council was. They made this circus of having people parade in and give their presentations and take time off of work and get childcare so that they could be at City Hall, so they could wait their turn to have their say.
You're talking about the blanket upzoning?
I'm talking about the blanket upzoning, the circus that it was. I mean, they pretended that they were going to listen to people, and it was just a circus. But they'd already made their decision. I mean, they didn't even want to have this period where people could actually have a say. They just felt like they were forced to actually, step back and say, oh, okay, yeah, we'll listen to what the citizens of Calgary say.
Yeah, but there was 3 weeks, I think, of presentations, and overwhelmingly, not even disputed, everyone is against it. And most even candidates in this election are for removing blanket upzoning. So we have this culture in this current City Hall under Jody Gondek and this administration, which seems to do whatever it wants, of just not listening to Calgarians because apparently they know better than the people that they should be representing.
Well, this is one of the axe that I have to grind is the administration. To me, is the tail wagging the dog, or the tail wagging the dog. I mean, they are in there making decisions and telling council what decisions should be made, as opposed to the other way around, because these overpaid bureaucrats they're making decisions. They're not elected. They weren't picked by the citizens of Calgary, and our representatives are basically being told what to do as per the administration. That's the feeling that I get. I don't have clear evidence of it, but I certainly see that they're not making decisions based on what the citizens ask for. And to me, it seems like a clear, very, very concise. This is what's happening in our City Hall, and it's out of control. and I continue to say this, but I've got to say it over and over again. The spending on things that aren't necessary. You've already touched on this, but not spending on our roads, not spending on safety, not spending on, let's just do garbage removal, make sure that our roads are safe to drive on so our cars aren't breaking down, and make sure that our transportation is safe. So we put lots of boots on the ground so that people feel safe in our city, and jail the criminals, jail them, not put them out on bail, not let them back out onto the street, put them in jail where they belong.
Yeah, it's the core services. For some reason, and this is really across Canada, but municipalities have started to go after non-core items, thinking that they can solve the world while they can't, fill out a pothole in their own block. Mm-hmm. So it's absolutely craziness, because the municipalities, one of the big underlying issues here that I don't think a lot of people understand just how big of a trouble they are. Municipalities have been getting bloated in bureaucrats in size. Calgary especially has been hiring 3 to 4 people every single day.
Let me just interrupt you for a second, because what you said was so important, and I was going to touch on that. They're hiring 3 to 4 people a day, but those are new roles. They're not filling vacancies. They are new roles that they're adding to the city. And maybe you have the number better than I do, but during Jody Gondek's reign, I think they added 2,300 new positions. Yeah. I think it was $140 million or $148 million added to the budget. Mm-hmm. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah. I think it's correct. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me without looking on my phone, but I don't want to be rude, so I won't do that. But yeah, it's been completed. And remember, those are non-core services employees.
Yeah.
So what are those people doing, right? And let's remember too. So, City of Calgary union staff, which is most of them, works 35 hours a week as full-time. That's it, which is absolutely insane. They don't even work 40 hours, right? So if you think about it, if you just work 40-hour work week, like a lot of, essentially every single normal person does, you can, just with that, you can cut down 1/8 of the staff, which is a lot. That's millions upon millions in savings. The other aspect of it too, there are hundreds of bureaucrats who are getting 2 and 3 pensions at the expenses of taxpayer dollars. Nobody even knows what's going on or who gets paid what. You have to go through documents upon documents, committees upon committees. Then you're like, oh, we have people that are getting 3 pensions out of taxpayer here. Yeah. And it's this nonsense that's getting buried in a bloated, unorganized, unmanaged, mismanaged city hall that we need completely fixed.
So, as with any other government organization, the way that, and I'm just generalizing because I don't, have the actual evidence, but we see this on a regular basis in, one government organization to another. It's always the same thing of the bloating, is that instead of actually dealing with the issues and cutting back, they add layers of insulation, right? They add a layer of management so that, somebody else can take the blame for this, or we can dissipate the accountability. And we still haven't seen, Kirk, any accountability for I call it the Waterworld fiasco last year. Nobody's been fired. There has been nothing come down that says, hey, you know what? For the last 10 years, when we didn't do any maintenance on our water pipes, geez, there's an issue. Maybe we need to have a report that says maybe they could do their job as opposed to not do their job. Where did all that money go for maintenance, by the way? Nenshi, Jody Gondek, where did all that money go?
Yeah, that's the problem. Nenshi left Calgary with one of the worst infrastructure conditions in decades. and this is the problem when the city of when the local municipality starts virtue signaling about everything except doing its core job, and because there is less people actually demanding internally within internal culture. There's less people demanding results. There are less people looking into core services because they have to manage other stuff, and those managers have, supervisors and other levels of management, as you said, and it's hard to get through who's doing what. And
Right.
this is what's been happening in Calgary, right? That's what we've been having, all those pipes burst. And by the way, I posted it, I think, last year, but City of Calgary's own paperwork, there was a page out of a presentation I shared, own infrastructure report on the aging pipelines that we have underneath shows that it can't really support mass densification, which is what we're seeing in job zoning. So we're doing such irresponsible city planning in Calgary right now, and this is a huge issue because every time you kick the bucket down the road, which what we saw last year, it costs so much more to repair. It shuts down the city, it impacts neighborhoods, impacts communities, and for something that should have been fixed all along, right? That's what we're paying our property taxes for. And when it's not done, we have to ask ourselves, like, what are we paying for exactly here?
Where did the money go? All right. I want to say one more thing about water because it is sort of in that same vein, and I'm going to sort of drop a little bomb on you here. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. Some of my viewers have already heard about this. Do you know that there are asbestos cement pipes in Calgary, 67 kilometers approximately? I think it's a lot more. But 67 kilometers that we know of in the southeast quadrants of the city. I think it's Parkland, Midnapore, and maybe one other community down there. Anyway, they're at the end of their life cycle. And we don't have any regulation here in Canada. So there's asbestos fibers flowing into those people's drinking water, and their boiling of carrots water, and their showering water, and their bathing water, and they're being bathed, and they're drinking and swallowing. We don't know because there's no test that's performed in Canada. But anyway, the regulation, I'm just going to tell you, is 7 million parts per liter is the level that's accepted. Anything above that is dangerous. But there's nobody that cares about it. These pipes are now approaching 70 years old, and essentially, we've had the person that brought this to me lives in Regina, and essentially these pipes end up looking like wet cardboard, and so they're disintegrating. And of course, the asbestos that's in them has to go somewhere. So of course, it's going to continue with the, travel down the pipe with the water. Anyway, it's something that I think is important for council to address, and nobody seems to be addressing it. We've brought it to a couple of contenders, in these wards, and they've maybe said something about it, but there's nothing you can do until you're actually in council anyway. But I don't know if you're aware of it.
And now it's mixed with fluoride as well, because we start adding fluoride into our water, which is, again,
I think it's another thing that Calgarians didn't want, but unfortunately the election, made it look like they did. So
yeah, it's a weird thing to mandate, because it's, first of all, it goes against the UCP Bill of Rights, right, that they released, which for some reason they don't care about. So so it leaves us with our own, leaving it at our own hand. But the issue is voting on that, adding fluoride into the water. If someone doesn't want it, how can someone else vote it as mandating it for them, right? This is not even about democracy. It's about, why would you, how can you, I guess,
here, I got something for you, because I talked to Dr. Bob.
How can you force medicine, essentially?
Exactly. Force medicate
on someone?
Yeah. So they treat it like it's a medication.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to use their words. So they say that it treats children's teeth, therefore prevents cavities. So it's essentially a medication as far as, the proponents of it. And this is exactly what they decided to do, was force medicate 1.8 million people, because it's the surrounding areas as well. And only 200,000 people voted for it.
Yeah, exactly. And the surrounding areas didn't even get a chance to vote on it. And
No.
all the new people that moved into Calgary didn't vote on it either. So the problem is with, a lot of these issues, and a lot of people say, well, it doesn't impact people's health or whatever statistically. The issue is not the linear statistic. The issue is on the outlier cases of who it does impact. It impacts a lot. So there are a lot of people that it will impact. Kids with, particularly kids with developmental issues, kids with neurological issues, and same thing with elderly. So those those two demographics particularly will get impacted a lot more than everyone in between. So we're saying to them, yes, you have to take it, or else spend thousands of dollars avoiding it with cost. Right, just because a few other people said no.
Yeah. What about? I asked Jody Gondek on X. I posed this question to council. They keep saying that this is for the very poor families that can't necessarily afford dental care. Well, what about the poor families that don't want fluoride in their water? Guess what? You have to take it.
Yeah, and the thing is, this fluoride addition will cost us more than actually providing those disadvantaged families with oral care. Right. And drinking fluoride water is not a replacement for oral care. We need to get those people, that demographic that we think it's impacting, in particular in habit of taking care of their own teeth. Right? You can walk into any dental office and they'll give you a free toothbrush and a toothpaste. Like it's not even a cost issue. It's just a thing that we actually need to do and promote. And it would literally cost the city of Calgary less money to provide with
free
oral
toothpaste.
Care. Yeah,
that's what they should do.
But yeah, instead of putting the fluoride in the water, it's gonna cost us $20 million.
It's terrible. All right, I want to get into this. Obviously, we have now skirted around the issue of the election. So, do you want to deal with the wards first? Do you want to talk about the wards, or do you want to talk about the mayoral candidates first?
Sure. I mean, let's start at the top with the mayoral candidates.
All right. So let's just name off a few that you know what? Maybe I'll pull this up. See what I can find. Let's see. Mayoral.
So we have Jeremy Farkas, right?
Yeah.
Jody Gondek coming back, trying to win a second term. Sonia Sharp.
I want to see if I can pull up a picture here
and
of
Jeff Davison, right? That's essentially the four that are.
Oh, sorry, that's not a picture of all of the candidates. That's just Jeremy Farkas and his team. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Never mind. I'm moving forward here. There's that's a police association.
Do you want me to tell you who's running?
No, I'm just doing this, more of a joke. I'm going through and sorting some of that.
And Brian Thiessen over there as well, who thankfully has no chance of winning.
Okay, so I've got to say that guy is so arrogant. He comes across like he knows so much more than the Calgary. Let's just look at this. I got to show you this. He's on stage right now. Just look at his body language here.
Reserve. And when she heads up the arena deal negotiations and her friend Danielle Smith gives her $300 million, that is also our money.
Yeah, it seems to have the personality of a shoe. and he is already picking a fight with Daniel Smith, which is,
Well, that's good for our province.
yeah, like I mean, we need adults managing things, not just some hypocrites, right? And I'm just happy Stephen Carter's campaign for him is absolutely failing, and it's that's probably the happiest moment of this municipal election so far, is because that guy needs to be as far away from decision making as possible.
Oh my gosh, he is. I think before this, he was heading up an NGO, is what he made it sound like, and some sort of nonprofit. And I'm thinking, man, you got to stay there because we can't have you. All right. Yeah, we got Jody. So we have Jeremy Farkas, and I was just looking for a poll that I saw showing that Jamie Farkas was out front and Sonia Sharp and Gondek were neck and neck. I don't know if I'm going to find it here in a second or not. No, I'm not. What do you have to say about the polls in regard to that?
Well, this is an interesting election. So first of all, I think Jeremy Farkas is running by far the best election, best campaign. He's really wide. He's really grassroots. He's really been really active with a lot of grassroots organizations. So he's been very approachable, at least visible in the community. I can't say the same for a lot of other candidates, which is why he's polling good. The other aspect of it is people just don't want Gondek elected. So a lot of people, when they're going to go vote, they'll have to decide, do I risk on voting for Sonia Sharp? Or if I think Farkas is polling ahead, I just vote for him, and so Gondek won't get in. So Sonia Sharp is in a pickle here, and she really needs to become likable, I want to say, but also become a lot more grassroots organized. And there's still 10 days to this election, and I think she can pull it off. But one of the other problems is Jeff Davison is running too, and he's going to take a lot of conservative votes for her, and which may be enough to win if he wasn't running.
Right. So
this is the other issue that Sonia Sharp's campaign is facing here.
Those are good points. Now, what in your opinion, what does the Jamie Farkas mayor look like?
I think that is the $1 million question here. Jeremy was somewhat fiscal conservative when he was in council. Yeah. Right? He took a 4-year break, went for a walk, and gave himself a nickname, Pathfinder, for some reason. But and during the 4 years after he got off the council, he was quite on the conservative side. He, for some reason, got under Nancy's wing. And if you look at, and it was really kind of against the UCP election, it was more for the NDP during the provincial election. And right now, a lot of his team is NDPers, are very on the left. He came out against blanket upzoning. So it's really hard to say what he's actually about now. It's quite confusing. He's definitely
very wishy-washy, right?
Yeah, he's definitely not a conservative.
Yeah.
Anymore. Maybe he's conservative on some things, but we can't afford nonsense in the city. We have to repair all the legacy disaster that's been under Nenshi and Gondek. And this is what we really needed as leadership, as I guess as a voice of reason at the helm, which is the mayoral position. We really need to see the culture shift, and I wonder if he's up to the task to do so.
So what I get, and I'm just going sort of on gut feeling for a lot of this, but when someone comes out, and I hate that this is actually a part of the campaigning, but he's come out and made sure that he was understood that he's gay. And I'm like, why? Why is that even a part of your campaign? Why do we need to know your sexuality when it comes to taking care of the city? I'd like a person that was fiscally responsible, that was focused on the basics, safety, cleanliness, and making sure that we had a budget that reduced costs for citizens.
Yeah.
I don't need to know what side of the bed that you sleep on, or your person, the person when you're at home. I'm really disappointed with that. I mean, if Calgarians are considering that, and that's a big part of it, it's really unnerving that that's the decisions that they're making. I think that Sonia's the better choice, but I can't say that for everybody. So
yeah, I think it's it's a weird thing that it's even a topic, right? Since like I don't pay taxes to care who you sleep with. But I think it's the unfortunate part of the Canadian society now is that you kind of have to pander for certain sides, and I think that is probably just, I personally didn't really see much of it, but it's part of the campaigning strategy, right? It is essentially, if he has an in or a way to cast a net into a certain voting demographics, he will. And Jeremy is the kind of guy who will show up to essentially anything, to any event for anything, to take a photo or to take a selfie and leave. So
yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe this is not terrible, but I think that we also want to consider the vote splitting aspect of, and you mentioned it, Jeff Davison would take away votes for Sonia Sharp. But also it leaves the door open for Jyoti Gondek, because she's not that far behind as far as polling is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she could swing in a win if we split the votes. So is there a chance that Jeff Davison can drop out? I mean,
I don't think so. He has too much ego. He's the last election where he came in. What did he come in, third or whatever? I don't think he even cracked double digits out of the vote. He thought that he was his internal polling has him winning, and I'm like, Jeff, I don't know who does your internal polling, but they should probably finish grade 1 math first. But it's just I warned at the beginning of this election that he's gonna try to get reelected again. It's just an egotistical nonsense. It's unfortunately might cost Calgary a mayoral candidate, which could have been Sonia Sharp. The thing is, with the current poll that has Farkas ahead, Sharp second, Gondek third, there is still a lot of undecided voters in Calgary, and that is the big reach that every candidate, every ward candidate, every mayoral candidate needs to be going after. There's a lot of votes out there that can make all the difference in the world between elected and getting not elected. So it's really not over yet.
Interesting. Now, I was going to ask you about something about Jyoti. Oh, I was going to mention, and I'm sure that you had already seen this, was that she worked on her personality and spent $107,000 of taxpayer dollars to update her personality. To say I'm disappointed is such an understatement, but she has not disappointed in the way that she continues to be the same person over and over and over again. Obviously can't read a room, and obviously doesn't care about Calgarians. So hopefully people see this message is that she really doesn't care about Calgary. And
she doesn't. She doesn't care for dialogue. We actually invited her for an interview, and she declined. She has zero care for dialogue with Calgarians. She just so before. When mayoral candidates, when they're there's an official announcement when they're going to run, when they actually send the paperwork, and then there is the pre-official announcement where they start peacocking themselves out, become invisible all of a sudden after hiding from everyone. that's what essentially gone like this. She tried to launch a podcast or something on
Yes,
YouTube.
I saw
It
that.
has like 7 views. Literally nobody cares. And she is just the absolute unapproachable elitist attitude that she has is unreal. So, and she doesn't want to be accountable for any of her action. Apparently everything is rosy.
Right.
Which is, you ask anyone else, and it's like, what city are you living in, lady?
Yeah. Completely in oblivion. She is completely out there. Okay, so let's talk about the wards quickly. Do you have a favorite for any of the wards, and we can just run down them? I don't know if you want to do that.
Sure. I don't know if I have favorites, but so the one thing a lot of Calgarians need to remember, there are a lot of incumbents, that a lot of current councillors who are not running again.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't show up to vote because they think that their person is just going to get voted back in again. It's not the case for a lot of wards, and we need those votes on council. So I just encourage everyone to make sure that they review the list of who's actually running, because your current council is probably not running,
Mm-hmm.
and you should be cognitive of what's happening in your future representation.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to? Is there anybody in Ward 1? I know Kathy Jacobs, who's the owner of Angels. I like her, and I know that she's dogged and determined to make her community better. That would be my choice for Ward 1.
Yeah, I'll echo that. So that's Sonia Sharp's
right,
ward,
her
right?
previous ward, yeah.
Yeah, so she vacated to run for mayoral candidate. She's chosen Ward 1 is actually pretty good people in it in general, but she chose Kim. So the one thing we haven't mentioned yet is this election is the first Calgary election that will have parties in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it changes everything. I really encourage. Most of the candidates have no affiliation with parties; they're mostly independent. But I encourage people not to vote on party lines, and the reason is there are a lot of good candidates who are not part of or maybe part of a different party, or maybe independent. So Ward 1 is a perfect example. They appointed Kim Tyers. The communities first did not let anyone get elected by their members.
Yeah.
So they appointed Kim Tyers, which is essentially a long-time political staffer in a way.
Mm.
Which is kind of fine, but but there are a lot of good candidates, a lot of good business owners, a lot of other people that are running, and they have a lot better expertise than essentially just politics. And I do like Kathy from Angels Cafe.
Yeah.
If you're voting conservative, there's probably definitely your conservative vote, and she's from a better Calgary party.
Right. Ward 2. Who's in Ward 2?
Well, Ward 2 is Jennifer Wyness, who is the current council.
Oh, that's my word. Yeah.
It's your word, yeah. And there's actually good people running in there too. That's a tough one. I think Jennifer Wyness probably has the edge.
Yeah.
If you're definitely going for the more conservative side, it's probably John Garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just think Jennifer will kind of scoop this one out. She has she has the name recognition here, but it's also has not been a really active ward for campaigning. Yeah. So this will be.
Well, I mentioned this before we started recording. I was really disappointed with Jennifer Wyness choosing to go ahead with the upzoning in my ward, even though we pretty much were already upzoned as far as our zoning was concerned. But I knew that her vote would have an impact on the rest of the city. But I think that a lot of people, 70% of the people that stood up and voted or stood up and talked at that presentation said no to it. And I think it was a fairly clear indication that, the people that voted yes for it really aren't listening to their constituents. So that's my position on Jennifer Wyness. But
there's not a lot of like choices there, right? You have
No.
Candy Lamb, who's run by the Calgary Party, which is essentially a really leftist, Stephen Carter's party. I mean, she owns like a herbal tea mix company or something like that. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that's a. Excuse me.
I'm sure she's a nice lady. I don't know her
Nice
at all,
lady,
but
it's not it's not a qualification. I look for it. There is a realtor and there is an engineer with TransAlta, and then there's John Garden, who is
also an engineer. Yeah,
also engineer, and he's definitely a conservative choice. Trevor definitely has.
Kavanaugh, is that his name?
Trevor, come on, yeah, I think he definitely has the expertise to make the right decisions as well. I just think he might be a vote split if you actually try to elect someone.
Yeah. All right, Ward 3.
Yeah, so that's Jasmine Mian's vote.
She's out.
She's out. She's not getting elected. This is a tough one. It's I have almost zero feeling towards this one. It's there's a lot of people running in the ward.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people running in the ward. Yeah, so that one is a really tough one. I have almost zero feeling towards who's going to win there. You have a radio guy, you have a another realtor. It's Christy Edwards from Better Calgary looks good.
Yeah.
Everyone else is essentially independent, so there is no actual other party people. I don't think there is in there.
Mm.
So, there's the Calgary Party, Atul something from an immigration consultant.
I see.
So, that's a no for me right away.
That's a no-go for me, for sure. We don't need to have more mass immigration. Kirk, sorry, we have only about 7 minutes. Maybe we can stretch it to 10, but let's go through these wards quickly. So Ward 4, what are your thoughts on Ward 4?
That was Sean Chu's ward, who is now running again. Sheldon has been working up a storm over there. There is not a lot of candidates. There's only 1, 2, 3 candidates, which is just incredible, really, for a chance to getting elected. There is Calgary Party, Communities First, and then there is Sheldon, who's independent. Sheldon has been really working up a storm. I have to give him credit. He's been meeting and knocking on doors. I think the edge will go towards DJ Kelly. He's been quite active and vocal for a while. He ran into last election and lost to Sean Chu, so that's a tough one. But but
I like Sheldon. I think that he would make a great counselor, although I don't know, DJ Kelly. So, but I think Sheldon, given the opportunity, would be probably a big advocate for Calgarians. So that's my take.
He's definitely the conservative choice for the ward.
Yeah. Ward 5?
Yeah. So Raj Dhaliwal is running again. And, he's probably going to win it again. I just don't see anyone offsetting him there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of candidates as well, mostly all independent. So it's I think all of them actually independent. So except one. So yeah, I think it's going to win it. There's nothing much to do there.
Yeah. Ward 6?
Ward 6 was Richard Putman's ward, who resigned. Mm-hmm. This is another tough one. There's not a lot of strong candidates there that are, gets me excited about. John or Joanne might be good. It's, my advice to anyone, if you see the Calgary Party on your ballot, you just don't vote for them. You vote for someone else if you're not sure.
Yeah.
We just don't need any radical left Jody Gondak like minds on onto council anymore.
Yeah, and so the Calgary party, you think, is along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so the Calgary party is run by the same people that elected Jody Gondak, right? They just had a falling out, and now they're running a slate against her onto mayoral raid, but they also started their own party.
All right, I'm looking for. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out. I can't remember his name. Jeff Watson. What are your takes on Jeff Watson for Ward 6?
For Ward 6,
he was a previous MP.
He's the World Vision guy.
I think World Vision.
Yeah, I think he was an advisor for them or something like that. I think he'll be good. I just don't know if he did work with, I think, helped Jason Kenney. Yeah. So I think, he will be a conservative choice in there. I just don't know if he has as much of a chance getting elected. I think he's definitely in the top 2 running though.
Yeah. I interviewed him. I think that he's a good speaker, and he definitely seems like he would be fiscally conservative and be working towards getting Calgary back onto track. One of the things that he said, and I'm just going to point out what I know, but he did say that his suggestion as a ward councillor, if he did get elected, was to have his office where people could come and see him right in the ward. I was like, brilliant. Why would people have to go downtown to see you? Walk into your office and have to go downtown. I think it's brilliant. I mean, where it's situated is obviously out in the west. And that's a significant sort of hike if you wanted to go down and see your counselor. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great idea. So,
yeah, absolutely. I think this definitely should be some kind of local representation instead of having, how many old people or people with young kids want to have to, bring all their stuff and go downtown just for, a 30-minute coffee or something or a quick meeting. It doesn't make any sense.
So Ward 7, what's your thoughts on Ward 7?
Terry Wong is running again, right? He's with Communities First. Terry is good. I think he's been quite good at on certain topics, and I think he's going to get reelected again, which I think will be good because Heather McRae is running under the Calgary party in the ward, she was part of Drew Farrell's campaign as well.
Oh, yeah.
We just need that as far away as possible from the city.
Yeah, we certainly don't need any wokeism like that. No. All right, Ward 8.
Yeah, Ward 8. Was Courtney Walcott's ward.
Yeah.
He's not running, thank goodness. So
thank goodness.
Yeah, so we got Gary Bobrovitz, who has been trying to get elected for a long time.
Yes, he has.
Kent Hare, I think, threw a wrench when he announced that he's going to be running. That was a big one. Cornelia Wiebe is from Communities First, and I think she has pretty good recognition as well. And there, I think it's going to be between Gary and Cornelia Wiebe.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Schmidt is one of the independent voices that I think has a really high chance, and I think he was endorsed by Evan Woolley recently. Yeah. Which, if you're looking for someone not to vote, is don't vote for anyone that's getting endorsed by Evan Woolley.
Amen to that. So I interviewed Cornelia Wiebe. Really liked her. I especially like entrepreneurs, anybody that has a business sense. That's my personal belief, is that if you can run a business, successful business, you're obviously connected with the community. You probably have a pretty good sense of what's going on in your community, and you must have to listen to your customers, where the citizens of Calgary are your customers. And if you can do that well and not be an egotistical, moron, then I think that makes you a pretty good potential candidate or potential counselor. And to me, she fit that bill as far as that was concerned. Obviously a family person, and wanted, she spoke out. I don't know if you saw the video, you probably did, where she spoke out about Marda Loop and what a disaster Marda Loop has become. And then that spurred me to reach out to her. And I actually did my own Marta Loop video. I don't know if you saw it, but I walked around and documented some of the atrocities, just construction after construction after construction. And it's just ongoing. It's not like they do a project and finish it. They do a project and then they want to drag it out as long as possible.
And then they fix what they just built as well. It's insane. It's absolutely God. They studied on how not to build anything. It's a complete embarrassment to anyone in that field. It's just astonishing.
I'm going to say this, but to me, it seems like money laundering. There was an intersection. I documented it. I put it out onto Twitter as well. An intersection close to me. They had ripped up all the sidewalks, all the intersection, put in new posts, and then 6 months later, they did the exact same thing. Where is the money coming from for this?
Yeah.
And who's writing the checks?
Yeah. It's good feedback that Cornelia Wiebe is approachable. She chatted with you and all that. That is a very good attribute.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Ward 9.
Ward 9 is my ward. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I love the ward. It's one of probably the most important wards in Calgary, just because there's a lot of industrial section there, and most people forget about it.
Yeah.
But it's Giancarlo Carraz's ward.
Thank God he's gone.
Thank goodness, who is essentially has done. He was completely unapproachable for citizens. And he announced that he's going to be spending the next 6 months trying to get someone else elected. So, if we had somewhat of a functional ethics department in the city of Calgary, you think they'll be looking into that. But here we are. So definitely the left vote that has a lot of donations from NDP. Actually, Farkas donated to him as well, and Evan Woolley donated to him as well, is Harrison Clark. Probably the weakest policies in general. I would not recommend anyone to vote for them if you actually want strong representation in City Hall. Yeah. So we don't need anyone with inner city developers and NDPers association as part of the ideological route there. Yeah. It's an interesting ward because there's a few people there that are somewhat the same. Gargar has really good following. Has done a lot of community in the Forest Lawn. Allison, which is the community's first person that they put in for I don't know why, because she wanted to be an NDP campaign. She supported Carra before, but apparently now she's a conservative. I'm not voting for her. Nobody is. No. But she has like a similar vote split that could be with Gargar, so I really don't get why they kind of put him in. Ariana Keepers is Carra. She works with Carra's office. I see. He's trying to get her elected. She has not been very visible in our community at all. Yeah. The independent choice is Marina Ortman there. She's essentially saved the Inglewood pool. She was completely behind it. She's done a lot of good community. She's very approachable. This is a tough ward because there's a lot of splitting here. Mm-hmm. Harrison is fundraised more money. He's very active in social media. So people need to, if they want to win this ward, they're going to have to really pick up their election game here.
Well, I like Marina Ortman. I interviewed her a couple of times. I think that she is a huge advocate for her community. Mm-hmm. She lives in the community, has a business in the community, and like you already mentioned, the Save the Inglewood pool, that really drew me to her as well. Obviously someone that stood up to the city and made it known that the citizens of Calgary need to be heard. I love that about her. And I would say that if I was voting in Ward 9, I would be definitely voting for Marina. Yeah,
and she definitely probably has more experience than anyone running there on the intricacies of working with city issues. Right? She, besides Inglewood, she also helps some people with filing against DP development permits and all that. That's right. Stuff. So she's been really active in the community and really really stepped up to actually help people, even that has nothing to do with this election, even before that. So that's very commendable.
So I have one more thing I have to add. I did reach out to Gargar. He said that he would come for an interview. He said that he had a family issue, couldn't join me. I was hoping to, get a chance to talk to him, but I really don't know, any more than that as far as he was concerned. But he did balk at our interview, stating family emergency. So, all right, Ward 10.
Andrew Chabot is running there again.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's definitely going to win. So, and
he's
I hope
a good guy.
does.
I think he's a fantastic counselor.
I like him.
Yeah.
He's really good community representative and a good voice in council and a good vote in council. So
yeah,
he has my support there for sure.
Yeah. Another guy that's running for there, I do like Mahmoud as a warrior for the city of Calgary and the citizens. I just don't know if he has the reach at this point.
Yeah.
But he would be also a staunch supporter of Calgarians and getting back to basics. So if he wins, I think that's But I do think that Andre Chabot probably has it handily.
Absolutely, I think he has that name recognition there.
Yeah.
Ward 11 is Courtney Penner. She you dropped
this.
The mic.
This is a joke. Are you saying that she's running again? And I know that she is.
Yeah, I think at first she decided not to run, and then she decided to run. The problem is she's been so invisible in her ward, so irrelevant in her vote in her ward, except essentially she's been essentially Jody Gondak's lapdog. Thought that fireworks are racist. She's just a complete peanut head. So it's.
I like how you said that, peanut head. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't think even anyone in her ward even knows who she is. Like, I have a lot of contact, a lot of business, a lot of community associations reached to me to meet on different topics, and nobody even knows who she is. So it's just been. She's probably been even worse than Kara in working with the community. So
terrible.
I think Rob Ward has that one.
Great.
And I think he'll be a good representative for the ward. So
yeah, I think he's got the perfect name for it. So
yeah.
Okay, Ward 12.
That was Evan Spencer's vote.
Yeah.
Ward. Sorry, he's not running again. Thank goodness. We got Shane running there for communities first. Brent is a sales manager at the car dealership. The Calgary party is a Sarah Ferguson.
So that's a no.
So she worked for Spencer, Evan Spencer. So just like in Ward 9, they're running internal.
Yeah.
I think this will be between. I think Shane has a good chance there. I think he's been really active. I think it'll be Mike Jameson's from a better Calgary party has I think a really good chance as well because he ran there before. He ran in a different ward before, and he may have the name recognition, but also experience into running for an election for a campaign. So and he sat on different UCP boards, so I think he has that a bit local recognition. The key is just for him will be reaching out past the conservative votes.
Yeah. Well, Shane, I think is the guy that I would. I mean, we were trying to arrange an interview and a meeting, but we couldn't make it work yet. Maybe we will still. But he seems like the guy that I would like to have out there. Anyway, Ward 13.
Yeah, and that's Dan McLean's ward. I mean, he's definitely winning it. It's very there's only one person running it, and that's Elliot Weinstein, who ran for the Liberal Party against Shuv in the last election, which obviously had no chance, and he's not going to have a chance this election either.
Yeah. Okay, Ward 14.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter DeMong is not running. This is a tough one because there's a lot of people in this one.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. There's a lot of people running in there. I'm really not sure about this.
I like the AC guy.
About the what?
I like the AC guy.
Yeah.
Landon.
Landon, yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely been visible. I think he's been very. I think the issue with him, and we saw it. So he was behind the recall Gondak petition.
Mhm.
I think the issue with him is not very. There's a lot. I think perhaps a lot of ego. I don't know what it was. Like the recall Gondak could have been a lot better if he just cooperated with more people. He didn't
Right.
do that. I don't know if he fell into a circle jerk of conservative insiders or something that tried to steer. I don't know what it was. I just hope he's a lot more cooperative with the
Mm.
local community than he is right now.
I think he's so to be honest, I think that he has a bit of trouble, and I've interviewed him a couple of times now. I think he's shy, and I think that he has a bit of trouble actually talking to people. So take that as it is. But he is definitely a staunch supporter of fixing Calgary. And if he's the right candidate, then great. If he's not, I don't know. So what are the other candidates there?
Well, there is Sunchev who ran for the Liberal Party in the 2025 election.
We don't need another Liberal. Oh my God.
We don't know, but it's essentially, I don't know how many actual conservatives there are in the riding, except the Calgary Party guy is Skinner Hatchie. I don't know if he's been part of the UCP. So I think between him and Landon, it will be the conservative choice.
Yeah.
But Sunchev may have quite an operations behind him if he's using the momentum into local wards. So it'll be that'll be an interesting actual ward to watch for, because it could be really everywhere, and there's pretty good, pretty strong campaigners in the ward.
Interesting. All right. Let's wrap it up. What are your thoughts as far as the election are concerned? Or do you have any just sort of closing notes?
Yeah, I would just recommend everyone to really think strategically who you want to represent you on the council. We need people to listen to Calgarians. I guess the direction the city of Calgary is moving is centralized planning and away from community associations, away from listening to Calgarians. And we need to complete opposite. The unique thing in Calgary is that we have community associations, which are the local voice for the local communities. And those community associations need to be empowered. So the councillors should be working directly with community associations. The city of Calgary, to its administration, should be working direct with community associations, because there's a lot of inefficiency there. There are a lot of local infrastructure community associations maintain, such as arenas and stuff like that. There is a lot of inefficiency in spending for. So you want to make sure that we bring people into council that listen to Calgarians rather than execute ideological plans. Study your candidates, ask them questions. If they're not approachable, I don't care if they're conservative or liberals or left or right, whatever you want to call it. If they're not approachable, don't vote for them. That's my litmus test. If the candidate is not approachable, I just don't vote for them. It's a democracy. They're there to represent you, and make sure you go out and vote, because this will be a tight election in a lot of wards. Last time, a lot of candidates like Courtney Penner, Kara, have got in just because of simple vote splitting and 100 votes essentially. So every vote counts in this election. So let's make sure we win the council back to work for Calgarians.
Excellent summation of what I think that we need for this upcoming election. And you're 100% right. I think that this is what we want above everything else, is just to listen to Calgarians when we say reduce taxes, take care of the basic stuff, and clean house. Mm-hmm. So Kirk, thank you so much for being here and sharing your thoughts on the upcoming election, and obviously all the other fun things that we talked about today. So I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
All right. Stick around if you don't mind. We're going to just say goodbye to the audience. Thank you very much for watching Unscrew the News today. This has been Kirk Lubimov and Bruce Scholl, and we had a fantastic discussion about Calgary 2025 election. Make sure to keep, let's stay sane together. Keep your head on a swivel. This is Bruce, and I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching Unscrew the News. I appreciate your participation in freedom in Canada. Share this information and help others to wake up. God bless.